Now before we create methods that is going to fetch data from our API, we are in a requirement to create a button that is going to help us achieve that target. That means it is going to be the button functionality to actually call for the API. So let's just create our button and head to your buttons.jsx, which we have already configured. Now inside this, in the parent div, give it a class name of buttons. So we'll be giving it a class name of buttons, and after this buttons, remove this paragraph element and create a button element. So this is going to be a button element, and this is going to have different properties once we pass data via props through our quotes.jsx, but for now I'll just leave it empty with only a style, inline style that is going to be equal to of color, that again is just white. Okay, so this is all the style that we get in our button for now. Now close this, and it is going to speak out new quote. Okay, so it's done now. Hit save. Now head to your quotes.jsx, because we are going to call our button element over there, and first import your button. So we'll be importing our buttons component. So import buttons. So we have imported our buttons. Now just let's put up this button right beneath our quotes author. So we'll be putting up our buttons right beneath our quotes author, and hit save. Now let us see if everything is working fine. So we see that everything has compiled successfully. Now let's just close this and view our application. So here is a button without any sort of colors, and this is just pure white. So now this is a button, but this is not something that anyone would appreciate, right? So let's just head back to our code editor and add CSS to it. So to add CSS, head into your quotes.css, and the first element that we're targeting now is going to be our buttons. So let's just target our buttons, and this button is going to have a margin top because we want to actually have a little space between the author's name and the button. So we'll give it a margin top of 2rem, and after the margin top we'll give it a display of flex, and this should be equal to flex, and after the display we'll give it a align item center because we want to center it. So align item center and justify content center. Now hit save, and let's see our application whether these functionalities have been added or not. Okay, it's working fine. So yeah, there we have a spacing between our author's name and our button now. Now if we just head back into our code editor, and after the buttons, head to your buttons.jsx, and this button is going to have another class name, and this class name is going to be equal to button. So let's give it a class name which is going to be equal to button. Hit save. Now going to quotes.jsx and quotes.css and now we'll be targeting our button. This time it's the actual button. Now in this button we want to give it a display of flex, so let's just give it a display of flex, and after display we'll want it to center it. So as usual, justify content center, align item center, and after the justify content and align items we'll give it a padding because we want to have little paddings around it of 4 pixels, and after 4 pixels we'll put up a 17 pixels. Now let's just hit save and view our application. So everything has compiled successfully. So we are having a paddings now. Okay, but still the color is not something that anyone would appreciate, but then again this is going to change along with the background before we add props to it. So head back, and after the padding we want to add a border. Of none, and after the border none we'll give it a outline of none, and then after the outline we'll give it a border radius of 3 pixels, and after the border radius we'll make sure that it has a cursor pointer because whenever we hover over it we want a pointer to be shown up. And after the cursor we'll give it a height of 35 pixels, and after the height we'll give it text align I feel like as if I've already given it. No, text align, and this again center. Now hit save and let's view our application. So yeah, we definitely see our changes. If I just, okay, so now it's time to move into our quotes.jsx and add the functionalities that is going to help us to fetch our data.